Hello, I'm Eric Snodgrass, and thank you for watching today's midday Western U.S. regional forecast video brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions. Well, at the beginning of this video, before we dig into this rainfall forecast and snowfall forecast, I've got to show you some fascinating satellite imagery that we've gotten over the last couple of days. Take a look at this one. I hope you find this as amazing as I do. This is infrared satellite temperatures from yesterday on March the 12th, and we can see the wide open wave that was bringing on all that tropical moisture that went across parts of the Four Corner states over into the eastern United States. But you can then see at the very end of this animation the cutoff low that emerged right here over California. Look at it right there. And this was the most latest round of very heavy rainfall that we saw across the southern half, or at least the southern third of the state. Now, there's one other thing I want to draw your attention to before I come back to the west, and that's what's going on right here. You can actually see moving off the mountains here a very interesting feature. If you just look right in through this area, you can see this kind of almost, it's like a standing wave of clouds. And to show you that a little bit better, I want you to now watch this animation here, which is our visible satellite imagery from yesterday, from sunup to sundown on Thursday. And again, you can see that big cutoff low moving through California, all the showers and thunderstorm activity over there. But if we just come back over to this section right here, you get oftentimes right off the top of the tallest peaks of the mountains blowing out into the open plains, these giant standing waves. This might be, I'll have to look at this closer, but this could be a Chinook cloud. Chinook wall cloud is what we call them. But those mountains serve as this almost permanent barrier just to thrust the air so up high into the atmosphere. And because it's lifted on the windward side and it sinks on the leeward side, we often get these huge cloud shields that develop because of it. So just some fascinating stuff here. Okay, we did get quite a bit of lightning over the last 3 days out of the cutoff low that did come through here. And of the 175,000 lightning strikes we saw here across North America, we can see that a lot of that was concentrated in two places, one of which was down here in the southwestern United States, specifically in Southern California. And when we add up the total rainfall we got this week, we can see that parts of the southern third of the state were picking up easily in excess of 1.5 inches up to 3 inches of rainfall. And some of that was coming in huge helpings with underneath some of these thunderstorms in that cutoff low. Now, we still need quite a bit more precipitation. And I'm telling you, we do have stuff that is waiting in the wings. So this animation you see here, this was yesterday into today. So we're looking again at Thursday into Friday. This is the whole view of GOES 17 in the northern hemisphere. And what I want you to be watching is, first of all, the system that's coming down today and tomorrow into the weekend that's coming right here off of right out of the Gulf of Alaska into the northwest. We're going to talk about the major issues with the weather with that. And then you see this big low sitting and spinning over here. That will be the system that will be coming to us in about a week. But before I leave this animation, look at this wide open wave. We call this a baroclinic leaf that is just racing out of the North Pacific into Alaska. That is what is going to help develop our high over low pattern, our omega block, as we've been discussing all this week. So I just want to show you some fascinating satellite imagery before we dig into this. Okay, let's play it forward. What we're watching here is the flow of our trough ridge pattern through the next 15 days. And I need you to just keep your eye on what's happening over Alaska. That trough that is out ahead of this ridge, so this trough here, is the most critical piece to this pattern moving forward. Let me just step you back. I can just kind of randomly stop this almost anywhere over the next week because we just see things kind of reinforcing themselves here. So I just grabbed here, this is 12Z on Tuesday the 17th, so 6 a.m. Central Time, 4 a.m. Western Time, and you can see here the cutoff pattern. Ready? So here is our trough. Goes up into a huge ridge over Alaska. That was that big open wave you just saw. And it comes back into a trough over the western United States and then kicks out into a broader, flatter jet stream flow pattern across the United States. This is what we're going to be seeing for a while. What we need to do is understand what this means in terms of our temperature and our precipitation patterns. Getting right on into precipitation, here we go. We can see it playing out very well. Trough, ridge, trough. Subtropical push of moisture comes in here, but with repeated troughs coming in to the west coast of the United States, specifically California, we're going to be adding up quite a bit of precipitation. In the near term, we do have winter storm warnings out for a big section of the Pacific Northwest, but in general, this pattern bringing flow in the upper levels out of the northwest is generally not conducive for heavy precipitation amounts. So it's just this first system that I think comes through and really provides a lot of precipitation there. But if I get these drawings off here, this is your next 15 days, we can see that parts of California might be adding anywhere between an inch and up to 3 inches of surplus precipitation by the time we get us all the way out to the 27th of day of March here. So what is this going to do? Well, in the near term, we do have more snow coming to Oregon, so I'm expecting these numbers to improve. But generally, with that cutoff low sitting repeatedly off the coast of California, we will see some major improvement in these numbers. Now remember, sitting at about 40 to 50% of normal right now, that is probably a deficit that is not likely to be completely overcome by the time our wet season ends here. But we can certainly make some improvements to those numbers here in the forecast. So as we always do on Friday, let's check in on our regions. This is the Northern Sierra 8-station precipitation index. We're already starting to see the numbers tick up. So we're still at 18.5. Normally we'd be sitting somewhere around 36 inches of average precipitation accumulation. So we're going to see that number change. Secondly, let's go south of there to the San Joaquin. We started to see a slow uptick. Now, these data are only valid through March 12th, and of course, we just recently got quite a bit more precipitation. But we can see that where we should be sitting is somewhere approaching about 30 inches. So we are at about 40% of normal here. And going all the way south to the Tulare Basin down here, we can see that we've made a jump recently. We're up to 9 inches, but we're still, we need to be sitting somewhere around 20. Now, these numbers are going to improve, but I just make a case in point to see it go all the way back up here and get on normal. That is more than likely not in the works. And to be completely honest with you, you don't want it to be. Because in order to make up what would now be 3 months of deficit precipitation, that would cause tremendous flooding and major problems. We need to just start making some improvement on this, but we will likely not be making a full recovery, which, like I said, is a good thing. So the Western United States painted with a lot of colors here, most of them representing issues with winter weather, including winter weather advisories, winter storm watches, and winter storm warnings for several sections here. Now, to take a closer look at what some of these winter storm warnings look like, I'm going to start by just telling you, here in the Columbia Basin, we're going to get snow all the way down to the basin floor. So this isn't going to be a situation where we don't, where we have to discuss a snow elevation level. It's going to get all the way down to the basin floor. But going south of there into northern Oregon and then, southern Oregon into northern California, I want to show you what the National Weather Service is on the lookout for. Specifically, I'm trying to get some guidance from their numbers. You can see here through this end of this week into the weekend, they're talking about snow levels somewhere around 2,500 feet. And we are expecting some very high amounts as you get up into the higher summits. So like Scott Mountain Summit here, easily getting over a foot of snow out of this one. So that's the Northern California range. You can see it kind of curling around just like that. Let's go south of there and take a look at what their snowfall level, elevation levels are looking like. So this is coming down to the Sacramento Valley. We can see 2,500 to 3,500 feet, expecting 4 to 8 inches. But we will see at some of the higher elevations easily grabbing 5 feet of snow, specifically in the Sierra Nevadas. And again, this is going to start today, and it's going to be lasting all the way through Monday. Really picking up, though, on Saturday, tomorrow. All right. Also, one last thing to point out, with all of these lows coming in, very, very strong winds are anticipated throughout the whole of California and Oregon, and then, of course, into the interior these storms move in. So here they are, okay? Here's the first cutoff low we're dealing with this morning. So this was this morning's precipitation. Here's the one we're going to watch that's going to create all the problems this week, and the one that's waiting in the wings is still way back over here. So as we play this forward, let's just watch these systems emerge here. So Friday afternoon and evening, getting into early Saturday morning. That's about the time where this low is really starting to hit the coast of Oregon. Now you can see widespread snow through the Columbia Basin, the Northern Rockies, and look at how tightly spaced these isobars are. Extremely windy conditions here. Coming down south of this, the onshore flow pushing snow into the mountains here in Northern California, sliding down here through the Sierra Nevada. This is Saturday morning. Afternoon and evening, very slow mover. Cutoff lows are slow. So this now gets us into Sunday morning. You can see now it's literally gone in 24 hours from here to here. And look at the snow we're anticipating piling up here in the Northern Sierra. I'm going to show you those amounts in a few moments. Now this is now getting into Sunday afternoon and evening, getting into Monday morning, Monday afternoon and evening, getting into Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon and evening, getting into Wednesday morning. So we saw the transition south, but this is a multi-day precipitation event starting Saturday, lasting through at least next Thursday. Look, I'll get you out to Thursday evening before that system goes away. So this is, you got a very wet week ahead of you, California. This is coming. Now, the next system is sitting here. This is now next Thursday afternoon, and we've seen the models be pretty consistent such that by next Friday, it should be sitting right off the coast. And if that cutoff low does come in, just like we're anticipating it here, a lot more precipitation. Now remember, this is for the weekend of March 21st and 22nd coming in through this area, which is technically the astronomical start of spring, finally moving that precipitation through there. So this is it. This is what this pattern has given us. And let's take a look at some of the numbers here just through the next week. So this is only through next Thursday evening. You can see that the system that moves through the northwest in the near term provides quite a bit of rainfall and snowfall in the interior parts of Oregon and Washington. But as it slides down the coast, we may be able to see in terms of liquid equivalent upwards of 6 inches of liquid equivalent in the higher elevations of this section of the Sierra Nevada mountains. And you know what that means for snow. Meanwhile, look at the rest of California. Widespread 3/4 of an inch to some locations well over 2 to 3 inches of rainfall. Now, comparing that to normal, this is often useful. You can see that because of the trajectory of that low, we're pulling in that moisture into the Columbia Basin over toward the Blue Mountains and the desert here in the eastern part of Oregon. Now, to the south of there, compared to normal, you can see that much of California experiencing a much wetter than average week coming up. And here's the map I think a lot of you want to see. How much snow are we talking about here? So let's start in the northeast and come to the southwest. Big snows here, where we didn't have snow on the ground a week ago, moving through the high plains of Montana. You can also see the big snows that we're expecting in parts of the Sawtooth, the Payette National Forest, right in through this area, getting over toward Wyoming and southern Montana in Idaho there. Then you come over to Oregon. You can see we're piling up in the Cascades here, easily upwards of a foot at the higher elevations. But coming down to the northern California's ranges, we can see up to 15 to 20 inches of snow at the higher elevations here. And then we're off the color bar through parts of the Sierra Nevada. That's easily over 4 feet of snow, possibly some locations getting 6 to 8 feet at the higher elevations. Remember though, in some places going into this, we were 20 feet in deficit in terms of snowfall. So like I said, we're going to make some progress, but this isn't going to be, the saving rains that we needed to have so far. Okay, looking out exclusively into week 2, so this is March 20th through the 27th. Again, we're going to see that upper level flow pattern really favoring the ridge over the Aleutian Islands and the broader trough sweeping back to the west. That's going to keep California, Nevada, and the Four Corner states on the wetter side of things. But because of the flow doing this, okay, that's drier for parts of the Pacific Northwest. What about temperatures? I had expressed some concern about low temperatures in the Central Valley, but we're going to look at low temperatures for the next 6 to 7 days across the whole of the Northwest and the West. So we just play this one forward. This is temperatures, minimum temperatures for Saturday. We're going to have single digits into the negatives in this part of Montana, so very, very cold air here. And as we play forward with this, even colder on Sunday morning. But you can see right now the chances of us getting below freezing temperatures in the Central Valley of California is relatively low. As we move forward into Monday's low temperatures, take a look here. Tuesday's lows, Wednesday, and that might be a chillier morning. Remember, I'm just trying to see if we get some freeze. That would be abnormal to get freezing temperature in here. That's why we're focusing on it. That's Wednesday, getting out to Thursday. And at that time period, I just don't see it happening. Going beyond there, let's take a look at what the day 5 through 10 pattern looks like. So this is going to go all the way out from the 15th of March to the, from the 18th of March to the 23rd. So we're pushing that ridge up in this place. So the flow pattern's doing this. And the reason why we see the much below average temperatures here is primarily due to cloud cover and rain. Right in through here, this is probably driven by the snowpack we're adding in right now. But you can see overall the Northwest gets away from its much below average temperatures and goes a little bit more toward moderate temperatures. And as we press the sun out to day 10 through 15, which gets you out from the 23rd to the 28th, one of the most important things we saw was a bit of a relaxation in the models here in terms of how cold they were calling for things to be. So that's good overall for the Western United States. Well, as I love to do on my Tuesday and Friday morning updates, we have brand new data every Tuesday and Friday morning that takes us all the way out through the next 6 weeks. And so this is going to be March 27th through April 27th, looking at precipitation anomalies on the left and temperature anomalies on the right. Now the model, as you can tell here, is trying to keep the current pattern quite persistent. And that's going to feature a strong subtropical branch moisture coming in from this direction at times, but more than likely, due to the dry air that you see here, that flow is going to have to do something like this to introduce that wetter, more moist air into this part of the country. Does appear at this time that the temperature pattern is pretty well sorted by the models. I've seen it now repeatedly calling for this, and we've seen the temperature anomalies up at this point show this. But again, that flow pattern keeps a lot of the western United States much closer to average, even cooler than average at times. So a lot to cover here, but I wanted to give you a good treatment of this as we work our way into the weekend. With all of the, the stuff we've been seeing, of course, with COVID-19 and the way that things have been reacting to it, I hope you all have a steady weekend, have a good weekend, enjoy some time with your family, and I hope that you all stay healthy through this kind of trying time here in the United States. So we will talk to you again on Monday. I'll watch for any trends of the weekend. Have a good one. Thank you.